Over 40 years ago, Kim and I embarked on a ministry journey that has now become a global network through the power of the internet. As part of this pioneering work, we are gathering people from all over the world to worship together, grow in our faith, and inspire hope through an uplifting message. We are dedicated to reaching out with God's message of hope and love to all without discrimination or judgment. We invite you to join our House of Destiny free membership that allows you to connect with members from around the world. Through our prayer wall, you can post your requests and have others join us in prayer. It's so powerful when the saints gather and believe for a breakthrough. We invite you to join today. Simply click the online church login and sign up. Partnerships are vital to our global outreach, enabling us to take the love and hope of Jesus Christ to those who need it most. Our Boots on the Ground Partnership Program physically ministers to those in desperate situations all over the world. The Israel Partnership furthers Kim's legacy of outreach to Israel and Jewish people worldwide. We invite you to become a partner today. We are here for you, and we have worked hard to provide the resources and tools to help you grow in your faith. Join us today and be part of a community that inspires hope, brings restoration to life, and often healing from the past. Together, we can make a difference, and we thank you for your ongoing support.
Proclamation with us. If we do it, let's go. We're gonna turn the world upside down. We're gonna turn these people right side up. We're gonna shout until we're 6 feet over. We're gonna demonstrate something unusual. Come on! Something unusual. Hi everyone. I don't know why it was saying 3:30. It's not 3:30. It's 3. So, can everyone hear me and see me okay? I'm a busy bee today. A lot going on. I did such an interesting interview. If you haven't seen, anybody following me on Twitter, you would have seen I posted it earlier today. But I was interviewed by Pete Santilli on the Pete Santilli Show. And they've posted it, and it was such a good interview. I did it last few days. Well, my days are running together. Anyway, I did this interview with Pete. I'd never met him before, and it was so good. I felt very comfortable talking to him, and it was a different kind of interview because he had sort of he has a lot of experience as far as the persecution, frankly, of conservatives. And he was imprisoned in 2014. Such an interesting story. You need to go and look him up yourself. Have a look at his show. I do recommend it. And it was such a great interview. If you want to see it, show them my Twitter handle. Here's my Twitter handle. And if you, it's X now. Look, I know that, it's not the best. But so far, we haven't had too much of a hard time with Twitter, X, as far as censorship. So it's a place that I feel comfortable as of now to post things and to express myself there. And it's the only one that I personally actually actively use. So what I'll do is I have things I want to say that we'll post on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, all of them. But I don't use them anymore. I did many years ago. A decade ago, I had a Facebook, but I gave up on Facebook and Instagram. I will not even go there. It's so toxic. And look, Twitter X, it's not great, but it's better as far as the censorship problems. So there's my Twitter handle if you want to follow me there. I also just created a locals account today, but I've just created it today. And the reason I did that was because of Patrick Byrne. If you don't know who Patrick Byrne is, Patrick Byrne is the guy who started Overstock.com. He's now sold it, but he was the Overstock.com guy, and he has been intricately involved, um, working with the FBI and the CIA and the government over the years. He was doing it because he wanted to help his country, and he had that ability to do so, and that was his intention in doing that. But along the way, he got entangled in a lot of stuff, and he has been uh, a very interesting a witness as to a lot of the stuff that went on. And he was talking today. I was going through Twitter, and he posted from his locals account. So I went in there, and I'd never been in locals. Dan Bongino's there. Dinesh D'Souza's there. He's got that new movie coming out, Police State. All those people are there. General Flynn's there. Roger Stone's there. I didn't even know they were over there. I had never looked at it. So I am, just to let you know, I've created an account. If you see me there, there's nothing there yet because I created it this morning. So anyway, that aside, uh, I want to share my scripture verse today. Finishing writing it. Okay, 1 Peter 2, verse 24. I didn't write that correctly on my board, so let me correct that. This is one of a number of scripture verses my husband brought me yesterday. Now, the thing about my husband is he was not raised in the evangelical Christian circles as I was. He went to a Methodist church with his grandparents who raised him, and scooting up my chair. Um, he'll often come to me with sort of an interesting question on the Bible, being that he wasn't someone who was raised. He read the Bible like normal, sort of an average Bible reading, but he doesn't know the Bible the way like I would, and just inadvertently I would, because of sitting in church meetings and church services so much. You can't help but know what's in the Bible. And then I have a good perspective on that because I've heard so many different voices speak on, let's say, the same subject matter, the same verse, just out of my experience. So he'll come to me and talk to me about things. And one thing he brought up yesterday, which I had never thought of, and I thought was so interesting, is the reference to the cross, that Jesus was crucified on the cross as a tree. Now, I'd always just kind of brushed over that because it's, the cross was made of wood and it was a tree. Um, so anyway, one of the verses was this one that he brought me a number of them, and what I realized is they were all it was Acts and First and Second Peter, and it was all Paul. So I haven't done a complete study on this because it only came up yesterday, but I did notice, like for instance, in the Gospels it's called a cross, but when Paul refers to it, he calls it a tree. And so he was sort of asking, why is it a translation issue? Why would that be? And I just hadn't thought about it before, so I thought I'd ask you guys. So I'll use one of those verses today. So our verse today is 1 Peter 2, verse 24. Who himself bore our sins in his own body on the tree, that we, having died to sins, might live for righteousness, but by whose stripes we are healed. Okay, so there's the verse. Do you have a look? Can't see if you can see it because there's a delay on my camera. Yeah. They can see it? Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's the verse. So just before the end of the broadcast today, tell me your thoughts on why it would be called a tree. Okay? What do you think? Because I had never thought of it. And I didn't think it really was anything, but it's a good point. What does that mean? So we have that. Actually, I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep a blank board. I'm going to take notes on my thoughts today. Okay, so one thing we're going to do. Got our scripture verse out of the way. I'm glad we did. Oh, my Warrior Mom's shirt. Thank you. K. Evans, IGDR. Thank you. This was a gift from my stepson Skylar, and we got it when we were at the Reawaken America tour. He got it for me as a gift. And actually, interestingly enough, I'm wearing very loose and flowing clothing today because this is on a personal note. Okay, I had it in my mind I was going to learn how to make meringues. You always hear about people not wanting to try because it's difficult. It was not difficult at all. I did a little research on the recipe. I know this is completely off topic, but just hear me out. So I did a little research on the recipe, and I decided, okay, I'm going to make meringues. First of all, it's a really old recipe, the making of meringues. It goes back to like the 1600s in France. It's, I think, the oldest copy of the recipe they have. It's so simple. You get egg whites. You can't have any kind of fat. That's why you separate the yolk. You get egg whites, and you can flavor it with anything and sugar. And all you have to do is whip it up the way you would, in your mixer. Um, and once it's steep, you can make little meringues. So I was super excited about this. I even added fruit coloring to half of the batch, so I had pink and white meringues. I made them perfect. My first time ever, I got it perfect. It was crunchy on the outside, a chewy center. It was so delicious um, that over the last 2 days, I ate all of them. My son didn't really want to try. It was something new. He's autistic, so he has a little bit of sensory stuff, so I have to like coax him to try new things. He did try it yesterday, and he liked it actually. My daughter liked them, but she only ate a couple of them. My husband didn't even try. So I ate all of them. I must have made 12 meringues about this size. I'm sick today from it. I overdosed on sugar. I don't know. It's been so long since I overdosed on sugar. I legitimately thought something was wrong with me. I just went to the hospital. My heart was racing. I was feeling sick, sweating. My blood sugar dropped. I had to eat a sandwich. I overdosed on meringues. So, anybody who has been wanting, especially you ladies out there, if you've been wanting to try meringues, it's super easy. Follow the instructions. Don't add any fat. You can add flavor. You can add color. It's such a cool little thing to be able to make, but don't overdose yourself because it was very tasty. Okay, I did see someone wrote, okay, here we go. Jeremy. Jesus was killed, murdered innocently, so that the person that manifests spirit is born without sin. Spirit is Christ, conscience, manifest in the flesh. Interesting. In the gospel, the tree refers to man. That's also interesting. Who should I reach out to? Joseph Z. Okay, I will look up Joseph Z. Let me know a little bit more. Heart equals earth. Huh. Very interesting here on Rumble. Sorry to stop talking to you guys for a second. I'm just reading these comments. And let me see what YouTube is saying. That was Rumble. Let me look at YouTube. What are you saying on YouTube? Hello, Wisconsin and Oregon. Red G Designs from Oregon. What would Robin Bullock love? Oh, Robin Pickle needs prayer. Landlord wants you out to 5 years. Okay, we will be praying for you on that for sure. Just reading comments, going through these and make sure. I want to hear if you guys have any specific answers. Yeah, a sugar binge, and I don't normally do that. I don't. I like sugar, but I don't normally eat that way, and I don't think I've done anything like that since I was a child, and I really regretted it. So yes, do try the meringues. Find a meringue recipe. It's very easy. Make sure your ratio of egg white to sugar is good, and whip it up really good, and you can cook it at a low heat for like an hour and a half. They're delicious. Now, a thing that my sister does is she makes the pavlova, where she gets the meringue and she makes one big meringue and bakes the one big meringue with like a bowl in it. So she shapes it. And then when she takes it out, you can put fruit and cream in it, and it's called the pavlova. Delicious. So, for no reason at all to do with anything going on in the world, I just shared that with you because the reason I was telling you that is I'm wearing this t-shirt. It's loose. My pants are loose. I'm so bloated up from all the junk I'm eating. I feel like a sausage in a skin. So I'm in loose clothing today. I'm recovering from my. Maybe I shouldn't make more meringues. I have flavors. I have vanilla and chocolate and raspberry. I have almond, maple syrup. I have all these flavors ready with food coloring, banana and yellow food coloring to make more meringues. But really, I'm making them for myself because the kids aren't eating them. My husband's not eating them. It's just me. So I don't know. Maybe I should just make a bunch of meringues and just walk around the neighborhood and give them to my neighbors so I don't overdose on sugar again. Who makes carrot cake? I love carrot cake. Now, I do warm chocolate chip cookies often for the kids. Now, that they eat if I make their chocolate chip cookies. I do a lot of that. And brownies. I bake a lot. I like to bake desserts. I can make dinners too, but my husband more does dinner and I do dessert. That's what happens here. Have I frozen on Rumble? It appears I have. Oh, there we go. I'm back. Okay, so one thing I want to talk about today. We're going to pull my Twitter up. We're going to go through my Twitter. Because the way I saved things for you guys today is I just saved stuff on Twitter so we can just mirror the screen and show you stuff. Pull my Twitter up. I'm going to pull it up too so I can see what I'm talking about here. Make sure I'm doing things in order. A number of very interesting things have happened. Now, one thing you guys know about is that I've been talking about Gilgamesh for a while. We've had the whole conversation. We know. I'm going to fill in anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about. So, I've been looking at this for 15 years, maybe more, because I started reading about this stuff. I went to school. I took a class on the Epic of Gilgamesh. We ended up finding out some interesting things. One of them being about an excavation in Iraq by German archaeologists because Saddam Hussein had dammed off certain areas of the Euphrates, and this particular area where it is documented in the Epic of Gilgamesh where he was buried, it was not underwater anymore because at the time Saddam Hussein had this thing where he was damming the water of the Euphrates so that there would be a certain flow into Iraq, and then there was a dispute with the other countries, an agreement made, whatever. They dammed off portions of it, and this area was not underwater anymore. So they excavated, and they found something, and it was exactly where where Gilgamesh from the Epic of Gilgamesh was supposed to be buried. They find something. Next thing, the United States invades Iraq over weapons of mass destruction. One of the things we've speculated on is those weapons of mass destruction may not have been the traditional kind. But perhaps they were I've had veterans and people who were there serving in the military tell me that they did find bioweapons and other things. It doesn't mean they didn't just because they found something else. And it seems to me, and this is a conspiracy, these are our conspiracy theories. This is not fact, and I don't have enough information as of yet on that. But Hillary Clinton, thank you, A.A. Strumming. Welcome back. Always here. I know you're always here. Hillary Clinton knows a lot about Gilgamesh too. Okay, so yes, because if you look in the Hillary Clinton emails, the infamous, from the server, the bleach bit and the smashing and all this on the server. Oh, there we go. There's my Twitter page. We know that there was an email sent from the Department of Defense to Hillary Clinton asking about the resurrection chamber in Iraq and the Nephilim in Afghanistan. Why on earth would that email be there? It's not like someone planted the email, and I have looked it up, and it is there. So, Gilgamesh keeps coming up. Now, if you go, click on this one with Yuval Noah Harari, or you guys are seeing me at the bottom, I'll go like that. Yuval Noah Harari. Now, Clay Clark posted this. And you can always tell when it's Clay Clark's videos. He has signature things that are his. I actually busted the Anonymous, the mask. Their official YouTube channel was using his videos on Yuval Noah Harari. And I called him and said, hey, the Anonymous official channel is using your videos. And the reason I know is because of that zhup sound before the zhup and then the writing on the side. So he actually called me this week because it all came up last week when from that prophecy I played you of my dad, and it had the evil eyes behind it. We did not put those evil eyes there. Someone else did that. They are actually interviewing me on Tuesday this week at 6:30 p.m. Central, and they're called Alpha Vets. I'm making sure I remember because I haven't actually met them yet. Only over social media, but they've invited me for an interview to talk about this specifically, so we are doing that on Tuesday. So they're the ones who made the video that had the eyes behind, but there's a significance to that. It's not supposed to represent my father as being evil or anything. Anyway, put that video on. Let's have a look at this. I don't know how long it is, so we might not watch that.
Now they are foes. ISIS is not an Islamic state. It is a god that was worshipped centuries and millennia ago, starting with Nimrod. That same spirit has rested upon the East, Middle East, and is knocking at your door. But you have acknowledged me as the Lord God of your nation. Because it has to do with Nimrod. Okay, so Nimrod was a Ha-Gaborim, which is in Hebrew means a mighty one, just like Goliath. Ha-Gaborim, a mighty one. There were mighty ones on the earth in those days. So Nimrod was a Ha-Gaborim in Hebrew. Now, when Babylon fell and God came down and confused their language, he fled. And you're not going to believe where he fled to. Ur of the Chaldees. And he changed his name. And you can see his initial on a symbol today in the Masons, because he was the first Mason. It's a G, because he became Gilgamesh. So Mystery Babylon that's talked about in the book of Revelation, it's being built. It's the hidden dark side that is working behind the scenes. Mystery Babylon is the Masonic line. It has started with Nimrod. And Nimrod, his spirit is the Antichrist spirit.
And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty.
The Euphrates has been the cradle of civilization in West Asia. The river has been the lifeline for millions in Iraq and Syria.
For millennia, the Euphrates River has woven its way through human history, playing a significant role in shaping civilizations and contributing to the narrative of our past. However, this ancient waterway has recently been facing an alarming reality. With its life-giving waters ebbing away, this river, stretching from Turkey through Syria to Iraq, is now just a remnant of its once bountiful self. Once vibrant fishing economies have collapsed, and contaminated water pools are all that remain. The Fertile Crescent, once the cradle of agriculture, is now barely recognizable, leaving behind a stark and desolate landscape. The Euphrates River's rich history and captivating tales are deeply intertwined with human civilization. One such fascinating story revolves around the alleged discovery of King Gilgamesh's tomb, an ancient ruler of Uruk. The Epic of Gilgamesh, recounting the life of this king, was a literary masterpiece penned 2 millennia before Christ. The epic tells us that Gilgamesh was interred under the Euphrates in a tomb fashioned after his death, when the river parted its waters. His kingdom of Uruk was located on the river's banks in present-day Iraq.
The Gilgamesh Project, the attempt to overcome disease, old age, and death, is the flagship of science. It serves to justify everything that science does. Whenever there is doubt, we just think about that and we say, okay, go on. More and more scholars say that what really awaits us.
Okay. All right. I didn't want to play the whole thing because it's long. But I wanted you to see up to Yuval Noah Harari. Because we know, I mean, he just said it there. the Gilgamesh Project. So, I wanted to tell Kelly Forbesblum. You said, I wish I could get into my Rumble account. It seems the chat is friendlier there. It is not. We have a troll over there. Just so upset that we're talking about this. Spending a lot of time swearing at us in the chat. It just seems like, well, if you don't like it, you can go away. Definitely interested. You guys are being quite kind about praying for that person. Trey on the guild. I know all about Trey Smith with his study of this too, which is what has helped guide me along this journey because it's been really interesting. Anyway, so Clay Clark calls me this week, and the reason he called me is because I've been going on about this for a long time. I saw the videos that came out around 2011 or 2012 of the. You guys know all this. I'm just recanting. Of the body. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I really don't know. And oh my goodness, thank you very much on Rumble over there. You guys are really sweet about sticking up for me. It's okay. Like a lot of times, you're going to find people are going to come in and be like, "What the heck are they talking about? They sound crazy." We probably do sound a little crazy. I like a. Why are you listening to this woman? Well, you don't have to listen to me. I'm here, and if you want to hear me, then you can. If you don't, then you don't have to. Okay, so Amanda Grace did see the Maui fires. Amanda Grace, man, I haven't talked to her in a while, but man, she is my good friend, and I really believe in her. Sweet Blum met me in Batavia. Did you? Oh, that's nice. I love meeting you guys when we go on the tour. It's so much fun. Actually, seeing you in person makes a huge difference. So, okay, anyway, we're going to go back to Gilgamesh because I wanted to. Do I have anything else on Gilgamesh? Is the only thing I have as far as Twitter. Okay. So, very interesting. For me, simply that the journey of learning that in school, taking the class, I'm in regular school, community college, take the class, we study the Epic of Gilgamesh for an entire semester. So I really know the story. And then there were things that sound similar, or I can see tie in with biblical records. So we have stuff in the Bible that crosses over when you start to study history. And unless you, particularly humanities, arts, culture, language, philosophy, when you're studying those stuff, you're going to start to get into reading the poetry and the stories and the legends and the myths of these different cultures, ancient cultures. Studying that for me, because I know the Bible, it would be like little bells going off, like, oh my goodness, that's in the Bible. Just like with Joseph with the coat of many colors, calling the father of Pharaoh, the son of Pharaoh thing. I explained that last week. I found it in the Bible, and I found it in historical records through a humanities class on philosophy. So this is one of those same kind of situations where you look at it and you're like, okay, Nimrod builds the Tower of Babel, which is a tower to heaven. And we see things as being like a building going straight up, and it seems sort of juvenile. Like, why? Surely those people knew they couldn't keep building a building straight up to get to God. So, but maybe they did. Maybe this is all wrong. It could be. But when you start to look at things like what CERN is doing, and this is very interesting, what CERN is doing, because now they are actually coming out and saying when it broke, they did open portals. And then I think of my dad. My dad was prophesying about a veil being rent. He said when Billy Graham and Oral Roberts and this prophet die, a veil will be rent. Now, over the years, you make assumptions. As a Christian, you'll make an assumption about what something means, like a veil being rent, like a separation. That we were that through that something would be overcome, that we would collectively be closer to God or something. But I think sometimes these things may have a little bit of a literal meaning right now, because if he was trying to reach heaven and he opened a portal, being that he still had the knowledge of the time before the flood. So there were things that they knew and understood before the flood that knowledge was lost. Some of it has never been regained. What was that really going on that God had to intervene and change the languages? I'm going to look at what you people are saying. Gilgamesh being the first Freemason tipster, that is right. You're the one who you gave to us. Thank you. You're the one who gave the $5. Thank you so much. $5 in your face. But yes, that's right. Nimrod is Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh, the first. You read my mind. There you go. That's what I wrote down when we were watching the video. I heard someone say this a few years back. And I thought, well, I know about Nimrod and Gilgamesh, but what about Osiris? Because then when you start to look at these characters they come from, you've got Nimrod's over there in the Bible, the Hebrews, right? You've got Gilgamesh, that's Mediterranean, and you've got Osiris, which is Egyptian. Those are the main cultures of the ancient world, especially coming out of the flood, especially Egypt. So if we look at those characters, let's bring them, it's just for the sake of argument, we'll bring them together, they're one person. And then you read the stories of each three. You can get a bigger picture of what may be happening here. And so this takes us to the subject of the Nephilim and the Watchers. And I know I keep talking about this, but I'm seeing more and more and more constantly. There's a video on my Twitter. Scroll there, let me have a look. Can you turn it toward me a little? There's a couple of things I've got for you guys to watch today. I hope I can make it to everything. We did that. Go down. No. That's the Nazi. Did you guys see? Put that on quickly. I'm gonna divert. I'm gonna forget this. Mirror that. Found this. This is disturbing because you keep hearing about these Nazis in Ukraine. And my dad saw the rise and fall of the Fourth Reich. And we look at Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum, Yuval Noah Harari. Those people are obvious. But what we've discovered since the war, if you see me looking over, it's because I can't see what you see. I'm looking at the screen over there to see. All right, so what you are looking at there is the Canadian Parliament honoring a 98-year-old Ukrainian immigrant who fought the Russians in World War II. His name, Yaroslav Hunka. He fought with the Nazis during the Third Reich as part of the 14th Waffen, aka SS Galicia. Standing ovations. So he received a standing ovation. So this is where things become so confusing for me, and I'm sure it must be for you guys too. Or maybe you guys can understand this. Some of you are probably understanding this better than me. I'm going to look at the comments in a second. So, why? There's weeping. He's getting a standing ovation, and is there more to this that I don't know? Because all these people do is scream and shout about anybody who disagrees with them as being a Nazi, white supremacist, fascist. But they, in their parliament in Canada, are giving a standing ovation to a Nazi. Because he's from Ukraine. And this is where the Ukraine thing has become so difficult, because my dad went to Ukraine and prophesied a lot about Ukraine. And what I got out of what my dad was prophesying about Ukraine is God's concern for the Ukrainian people. Not the leadership, not the government. Because he was there when the government was overthrown in 2014. That's when God sent him there. And he went to Ukraine. He was praying for people in the middle of, there was gunfire, there was bodies around him. They were taking him and showing him. They've had at least 20 bodies. You can move that now. 20 bodies that they found that they couldn't even put back together because they had been slashed up. Crazy things were going on over there. And this all happened right before, the year before my dad got sick. So he didn't have much time there. He had a year. But he was just for Ukraine. The fact that God showed him Ukraine and showed him that there would be a Fourth Reich. And even when I went to Europe, saw swastikas graffitied on the walls on my way to Auschwitz. So even back that was 2012, even back then I was seeing this. It's so strange the way it's working out. Um, so I just saw that today. I thought to show you guys. What do you think? Let's see. Screaming against capitalism. Yeah, Trudeau is a disaster. He's supposedly Castro's illegitimate child. I don't know. Okay, the Ukrainian SS Galician, those were the ones who murdered the Polish people during the Warsaw Uprising in 1944. Thank you, Fireburn. Awesome. Okay, so that's who they were. Why would the Canadians be applying this guy? Maria Elena Santor, my rent was raised 2 times in 1 year. Oh, shame. You know, it's so many people are going through this. Me too. You can't pay for anything. Everything's too expensive. The food it's ridiculous. I mean, the amount of money you have to spend just to eat. I have learned how to bake my own bread. You can ask Lou. He knows. I'm baking bread, making my own
Great bread.
I know, and it's good bread because I'm very particular about when I make things. I follow recipes. Nimrod met Esau. I've never heard that AA strumming. I will have a look. Joseph Z again. Who's Joseph Z? Let's write it down. We must look up Joseph Z. I will look him up. Okay. Elaine has brought up, Elaine Many, 777, thank you very much for bringing up, who has been recommended as the future child ambassador to Ukraine. Can we show the picture of who they have chosen?
Oh,
The Maria, yeah, that one. Just click it so they can, in full screen, so they can see it. I think I used Liz Crocken's. Yeah, I did. Well, we want to see the tweet too, can we?
it's on this.
Oh, it's on the side. Okay. Okay, I'm again, we're mirroring the computer screen today. I actually should have just had it in front of me, but I want to see your comments. Okay. It came out yesterday that Vladimir Zelensky has tasked spirit cooking high priestess Satanist Marina Abramovic. Now, I know about this woman. Back in 2016, when all the stuff came out about Hillary Clinton and John Podesta and Anthony Weiner and those lunatics, what are they doing? I mean, they're putting blood on the walls and calling up spirits. And then you look, go have a look. There's a video I'm going to show you in a minute on here about ceremonies at CERN that they did in front of the Shiva statue. Which, why is the Shiva statue, the destroyer? Why is that statue there? And then they do they said it was a mock sacrifice. And you see the woman laying down. I'll show it to you in a minute. So these people, again, we look at CERN. They're messing around making big bangs. I'm telling you, in 2007, 8, whenever it came out that CERN was in Switzerland and they were going to be banging the particles. At that time, I didn't know that people had already been trying that for years. There's other particle colliders. But this is the biggest ever one. Now, Clay Clark can keep you well informed on the location of CERN because that's important. But what happened was, when I heard about what they were doing, that they were going to be colliding particles and recreating the Big Bang and all this, I was worried because I was saying, they're going to, like, what if they make a black hole and we all get sucked into the black hole? And then there was that kid. He was a little blonde boy, a young boy, but he was this genius kid, and he is writing on napkins in his kitchen and explaining about string theory and parallel universes. And you know, as Christians, we might, okay, think about levels of heaven, right? And we know messing with this stuff is very dangerous. You hear about people going down to South America and drinking ayahuasca and having these spiritual experiences guided by a shaman and all this. When you are doing those kind of things, you will see results. It is very dangerous. It is very dangerous. I caution anybody to even if you're a Christian trying to fight this, as far as spiritually battle this, make sure you are wearing the armor of God, because this is no joke, this. And what these people are doing, you wonder why. Why do we look around and we see so much brazen hypocrisy, so much evil everywhere? Every awards show is about the devil and Satan, and there's fire everywhere, and sexual debauchery, sorry, and there's nobody knows what gender they are. Nobody knows anything. It's well, whatever I imagine today, that's what I am. Like, that is chaos, right? And so when you are seeing this, and then you go back, like go back 10 years and think about the world, and see, now we saw it coming, but there was something that happened, and it happened when my father got sick, and after he died, it was like the whole world exploded. Dad had a stroke September 7th, which was Labor Day that year of 2015. He lived until November 23rd of 2016, and you can see there's more pictures. This is this Abramovich woman with a Rothschild. I remember watching something of hers before she came out about all the stuff she was doing, and she does this performance art is the excuse, and she did this thing where people would sit and stare at her, and there was the Ole Ole song. And I was like, whatever. It's a performance artist. However, when it came out about the spirit cooking, my aunt and I, there's Lady Gaga, they're eating. Okay, why is this the thing that people choose to do when you take God away? If under their logic there's no God, and so then the question of morality comes up. Then people are given a choice. Now we choose what we're going to do without God. So we're taking God away. Why do they choose this? Why is this what they're choosing? I mean, this is disgusting. Why is this the performance art that people are going for? Look at these people. Why do they want to do this? And then you think about my dad prophesying on February 22nd of 2014 about the hearts of once compassionate women have cooked their own children, and their children have become food for them. No longer will their children be their food. Your children. And this is where we start to look at what's really going on with the abortion. They make up their excuses for the legalization of abortion. They make up excuse after excuse. Oh, well, the life of the mother, the life of the child, what if it was rape or incest? So they use those kinds of things to tug at your compassion, because you think if someone was raped, this is a terrible situation. And that's what they've done to people, and slowly just chipped away at morality. Now, what happened? Whose benefit is it? To who benefits from abortion? Let's put aside those cases that are extreme and look at the people who have taken advantage of that and use it as birth control and have multiple abortions, and they have parties about their abortions, and they're so happy, and everybody's so happy. I'm so happy I had an abortion. Let's have a party about it. Okay, when that's gone to that extreme, then it is no longer about rape and incest, which is like 1% of all the cases. And it has become the greatest genocide. And notice where they put their clinics. They put them in poor and impoverished areas. Also under the guise of these people can't afford the children, and there's more crimes. And so they, again, tug at your compassion. But then what happens to the aborted babies? What are they doing with them? So they're using abortion as an excuse. I know that there's, they get organs. Organs are taken from these children. Stem cells are taken from these children. And then we hear about what was going on with the spirit cooking, and what are they actually doing? Well, they were drinking from the pineal gland. And this is what what's it called? Adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome.
So I found out about all that stuff I've just talked to you about. I know I diverted with the abortion thing, but I had to make my point. But I found out about all of this stuff because of this woman, Maria Abramovich. And I knew who she was because I'd seen previously one of her performance arts pieces. And then you see this. Why is this is the point I'm making. Why is this what they're choosing? It's crazy. It's not okay. Why are they choosing only to depict satanic, violent, evil imagery only, ever? It's I can't watch an award show anymore. I can't watch any of those kind of things anymore because it's all this. It's disgusting. It's embarrassing sometimes. You don't know where to look. So why is that this happening? It goes back to CERN, 2007, 2008. I was shouting. Even my dad was like, "It's okay. Don't calm down on it." I'm like, "No, they're going to make a black hole and we're all going to get sucked into the black hole." And then you hear about the Mandela effect and the aligning of who knows if that's all true. I don't know enough about it to even speak on it, except for when it comes to my observations now and saying, okay, we know this is a problem. What are we going to do about it? She was associated with John of God. And this was the other thing. New compound this information with the fact now compound this information with the fact that the Clinton Foundation launched a new organization last week to help rebuild Ukraine and provide humanitarian aid to those impacted by Russia's 18-month invasion at last week's Clinton Global Initiative meeting. There it is, Ukraine, a hotbed for child trafficking and organ harvesting. The Clinton Foundation is notorious for child trafficking, right? We all know. Like, why is there still a Clinton Foundation at all? And what makes me so mad is that they actually will call things like what they've said here, crimes against children, in the 2018 Inspector General's report. Yes, and this woman, Abramovic, had satanic spirit cooking dinners with the Clinton associates, with Hillary Clinton, with John Podesta. We know that from the emails. That's proof. They were doing their spirit cooking, man. They were having so much fun. They have done something. These people have opened something, done something. And so we see around us this manifestation of evil that is compounding along with the hypocrisy that is so bizarre and so ridiculous that they would think anybody would not see how hypocritical they're being. Yet they continue with a certain confidence. You can go out of this, Maria. I don't want to look at that woman anymore. Oh, Lisa J, thank you. A super chat. We got a super chat. Now, look, if you've had an abortion yourself, I'm not judging you. I'm looking at a situation where they are using these things. And again, like I said, they will pull at the heartstrings of people who they know are compassionate. That's why it was so easy to take the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party, look, we know all the stories about all the stuff, but the most like regular people living in America who are a part of the Democratic Party are a part of that because they feel compassion toward minorities, toward people who are struggling, toward the poor, and they think that they're doing the right thing. Now, obviously, things have gone so far that it's ridiculous now, and we are seeing more and more people waking up and moving over. Now, they don't want to go to the Republican side because they can't stand Republicans. Look at this stage. I can't stand the Republicans. You see these people. They do nothing. Kevin McCarthy was a mistake. We knew he was a mistake from the beginning. I knew he was a mistake. They fought and fought to get him in there. But one thing I knew is what Clay Clark told me, is that he was there hanging out with Trump. Remember, he was going up to Mar-a-Lago, and what, even back then, people were not feeling good about Kevin McCarthy, especially him being around Trump. And now we see why. A bunch of talk. They have their deals back there. All of these politicians are making their deals in the back, filling their pockets, and now they are using Ukraine. And so whatever we think about the leadership and them using the Nazis and the military, whatever's going on, what you have is a population of people whose home has been destroyed, who have had no say. They're told it's a democracy. There's no democracy. There's good and bad people in the country, just like there are here. I mean, you're never going to get away from good and bad. Try to box up any group of people, men, women, races, religions, whatever. Box them up and try to say they're all the same. One thing you will find in every single one of those categories is there's going to be good and there's going to be bad. We know that. So at this stage, we need to forget about all the boxes and say, okay, what is good and what is evil? And this is it can be a very fine line because things can get complicated. Just like I explained to you with the abortion thing, a lot of people feeling compassion for someone who is raped, and now they have to get an abortion. So they pull on the compassion to draw you in. And then there's and then if you've taken God away and there's not that moral foundation, or a feeling of I'm answerable to God for what I do, when you take that away and you just give people a choice where they don't have to answer to God anymore, why are they choosing this? And I think, that's the kind of question we're not going to be able to answer today. That's an age-old question. But it is this happening again. Okay, I'm going to look at your comments quickly because I've gone on a little bit of a... He is World Economic Forum. Yes, Kevin McCarthy is World Economic Forum. Thank you very much, AA, strumming again. And yes, that's right, Sherry K, we have to fight for the children. George Garvey, I did not refuse to listen to you at all. I did not refuse to listen to you. I don't know why you think that. Stop it. Just because I might not have answered you, I forgot. I've got thousands of people emailing me. Doesn't make me more important than you either. But if I didn't answer you or I didn't respond immediately, it wasn't because I didn't listen to you. You were one of many who was telling me about the spirit cooking. Absolutely. And I knew. On 2017, I did a broadcast with my Aunt Wendy, and she talked about the spirit cooking and may have used some of your information. So forgive me if I didn't answer you, but I did hear you, George. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for the super chat. I'm in YouTube right now, looking at the YouTube. Alex J left the Republican Party. Yeah, because the thing is, we're seeing the Republicans are just as bad. Really, it's politicians getting back there, and I don't know if they're being threatened. I don't know if it's just too tempting, all the money, but they are up to no good. And at this point, it's just like my dad saw. He said, God is not satisfied with the Democrats or the Republicans. He's not happy. Because it's not about that at all anymore. They're using that to pit us against each other so they can make more money and get more power. And these are people who are godless. These are people who don't even believe in God. And if they do believe him, it's just some backwards thing they don't want to think about. Obviously. Now, you've got some good God-fearing people that are there in the government. We know that. Again, good and bad. You can't just say the whole government's bad. There's good people there. But unfortunately, the majority are bad right now. The majority have been corrupted. The majority are up to no good. And that's where, yes, Alex J. Lauren Boebert, what happened to her, it's awful what happened because you can see it was a setup, that she was set up. But it still made me look at her like, how is your judgment? I'm not going to be able to trust your judgment in Congress if you can be fooled that easily. So it's not good for her. I'm sorry that happened to her. But if she's going through a divorce and she's fondling strange Democrats in movie theaters, whether or not the camera's there, I'm looking at her judgment. I'm saying it's not good. So even though you're trying to do the right thing, you cannot handle that position that you're in. So it's unfortunate because she's not. I don't think she's a bad person. I think she's just she was fooled, and we don't have time. We're done. Maybe 20 years ago, we might have said give her a chance. We don't have time for gullible people. We don't have time for foolish people who can be lured in. We need strong people in these positions who know that their job is to go in there and fix this mess. And they can't be caught in theaters with strange Democrats. So I'm sorry, but I know we're supposed to forgive, but we also have to be wise. And so, yes, we forgive her. Sorry that happened to her. It wasn't fair. But she still made a foolish decision.
The Bible does say, mark those who bring division and stay away from it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean don't forgive them, but if
you have to stay away
if
from
there's
somebody.
division, you don't want that spirit.
Do we want the person leading or making decisions on a grand scale like this? Do we want that person to be someone we're like, oh, we have to forgive them? Or do we want the right person? This is really what it's about. Forget about party. We need the right people in the right positions to fix the mess. Otherwise, there's no more America, and then there's no more ministries, and there's no more church. That will go, because the Christians are the target. We are the target now, just as the Bible said. It's so surprising to me. One way that the enemy has made sure that the people are not prepared is by making sure they don't truly understand what is in there. So you've been to church and you've been told what to think and about the scripture, and I know a lot of you are studious and you get in there and you figure out the Bible for yourself. But the majority of people go to church, they listen to what they're told, they go home. They're busy. They have busy lives. However, there has to be some sort of, especially for Christians, that we must go back And we must look again. I don't care if you've read the Bible 1,000 times, backwards, forwards, upside down. Read it again with a new perspective. It won't hurt you. I know I do forgive her, but I don't feel comfortable trusting her judgment. That's how I come out of it. It's like, whatever you did. But now I don't trust you to be able to handle this, and we don't have time to wait for her to overcome all the things that she's dealing with so that she can be better again. We don't have time. We don't have time. The election's in not even a year. They're already gearing up to cheat. We already can see it. Look at the migrants. There are more migrants in 15 states. There are more migrants than there are American citizens. Why would they do that? Except for they're going to cheat again. Because what do? They bring the people in, they bring the migrants in, they give them driver's license, which automatically registers them to vote. They're not going to vote. The Democrats are going to vote for them. Or the crooked Republicans, whoever's got what deal. So what has to happen is those people have to go away. And we need to put in the right people. It's like for my whole life, it's like you get to choose between this guy and this guy. It's like, what if I don't like either of them? So I don't know how you fix that. But really at this stage, and my husband and I talk about this all the time, God is going to have to intervene. The banks closed Christian organizations' accounts. Yes, they did, because they closed ours. Bank of America. We, the House of Destiny, Kim Clements Ministries, and before it was called that, it was called Prophetic Image Expressions, always banked with Bank of America. It must have been 25 years we banked with Bank of America. 2 years ago, I think it was now, got a call out of the blue. We're no longer banking with you. Why? What did we do wrong? Why? No answer. We don't have to answer you. We've just decided not to bank with you anymore. That's what they did to our ministry. And we had to switch to a different bank, which I don't trust the other one either. I don't even know what banks to trust anymore, but that's what happened to us. So you're right. We at the House of Destiny, Kim Clements Ministries, have been a victim of that. Bank of America canceled us for being Christians. Yes, in America. Yes. So please understand that all of these people that are in positions of authority that are supposed to represent us, and I'm including Matt Gaetz too, by the way. Gates' girlfriend was on here earlier swearing at us for being here. I don't know what her problem is. She must go. She's not really Gates' girlfriend. That's just what she called herself. It's obviously, it's a troll. But whatever. Maybe it's a boy. It is all theater, but it has to stop. It has to stop. Because everything's gone too far. So before I'm running out of time, but I do want to make sure I didn't forget anything important. Scroll there. Let me see what else did I have. I'm going to forget now. I wanted you guys to see. Oh, show the Jimmy Levy. Play it so they can hear. I was invited to this and I couldn't make it. I couldn't get there. I didn't have anyone to watch my kids. It would have been too. I couldn't get there. I tried so hard. But Jimmy actually texted me and asked me. He asked me my T-shirt size. I was supposed to have this T-shirt on, and I couldn't make it. But this is what he did. If you remember "We Are the World," remember Michael Jackson and all of them did that song. He was, it was in the theme of that. Have a look. That is? Isn't that great? I was supposed to be there. I was supposed to be in that video. I'm so disappointed I couldn't do it. I'm so disappointed because I love Jimmy Levy. I've not met him yet, and I haven't spoken to him on the phone. I've texted with him, but I have not actually spoken on the phone because I don't like to meet people over the phone. So I'm going to meet him in Miami in October when I do the Reawaken America tour. So I wanted to show you guys what he's doing. It's so cool, and I was supposed to be there, and I wish I could have.
We can play this prophecy of your dad's if you want at the end.
Why don't we save that for next week? We don't have much time. And I wanted to make sure I got to sponsors because I didn't do it last week. So do we have MyPillow stuff?
I have MyPillow.
Call up the MyPillow. I'm still, we are sponsored by MyPillow. And so those of you who might need some slippers or some sheets or a dog bed or pajamas or a pillow. If you go to My Pillow and you make a purchase there, as opposed to going to Target, Target, who makes satanic clothing and clothing that confuses children about their gender, you could go there and get that stuff, or you could go to My Pillow and you get a huge discount, like up to 80% off if you use the promo code Kim Clement. So if you, as you can see, I think it'll be. Let me see if I'm pointing. Is it that way? No, it'll be that way.
Yeah.
That way. But let's look. Okay. There's a delay, so I can't see myself. I'm in the little circle at the bottom here, so I'm just trying to.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Point towards me.
towards you. Okay. There, I'm pointing now. It's caught up. Okay. Kim Clement is the promo code you use. So if you go to My Pillow and make a purchase, please use Kim Clement, because you're not only supporting Mike Lindell, who, my goodness, what a great man. What a great man. Support him because he's a Christian in the marketplace. This is something Oral Roberts taught. This is something my dad taught. This is a very crucial thing, and we are experiencing it in real time right now. Christians in the marketplace, Christians in entertainment, Christians in government. If we are not there, we will be canceled. We will be disappeared. So support people like this. So you're going to find others as you go along your way. I love Mike Lindell and I love My Pillow, so I feel good about advertising this to you because I feel like you're going to like it. The slides are really cute and comfy. I love these cloud slides. I wear them myself, and I do love them. So they're having a 20th anniversary special as well. Again, use promo code Kim Clement. Cuban Madre loves Jimmy Levy. Who doesn't love Jimmy Levy? What a voice. What a beautiful person. He really is a good human. Someone's ordered some of their washed clothes on their way. Matt Gaetz is a rhino pig. Yes, he is. I'm so disappointed, because I thought a few years ago, when it was like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and Matt Gaetz were in there, it did look like there was a younger group that were going to, fight. And they really did during Trump's impeachments and stuff like that. But now, I don't know what goes on back there, but I know I've seen Matt Gaetz fist bumping with, I don't know, Kamala Harris. Backstage, when they think the cameras are off and people aren't looking. And so they're making their deals. And they do a lot of shouting on social media, but they don't actually do anything. And they make excuses or whatever. So, very disappointed. Did I see the movie about transsexuals reverting? Can't read everything you said. I have not, but that is something I keep saying. This is the thing we got to worry about. There needs to be like a real wake up. Look, this is what's going to happen. The more people that this touches, and it may be any variety of issues, but it's all coming from the same place, and we know that. Anything as soon as it touches them, then they're going to understand, and that'll wake them up. But at the same time, we have to be careful not to just sit back and wait for that to happen too. We have to be active. Something I was talking to Roger Stone. Please, you guys, please pray for Roger Stone. I mean, the onslaught, and look, he's very vocal and outspoken. He is a very unique kind of a person we need. He's been around a long time backstage over there with the politics, and he knows what's going on. And he has been just attacked in ways I've not seen, aside from Trump, what they do to Trump. And so please pray for Roger. He's going through a lot. Matt Gaetz on hidden BlackRock payroll. You see, this is the problem. I am a free market girl. I believe in the free market. It'll take care of itself. But we have a problem right now in that these major corporations buying up, and you end up with a BlackRock that owns everything. They own Fox and CNN. When you have these situations and it goes out of control, and then they team up with media and politicians, and all of them are getting the kickback and making the money, is what you end up with now. So it's like you see all these people on the left that used to shout and scream about capitalism is so bad, it's so bad, Occupy Wall Street. Those people are now like hand in hand with the corporations like Walmart and Amazon, and they're all cool with them, because why? It doesn't make sense. So again, this is another one of these really confusing hypocrisies that I actually should probably just sit with someone on the left and hear what is your logic. What is your logic? Because 10 years ago, you shouting about the corporations. Now we're all friends with the corporations, but we're still shouting against capitalism. It makes me feel like people aren't thinking, which they definitely aren't thinking. We trust God. Thank you, David. With a crown. King David. Thank you for saying that. We trust God 100%. Yes, we do. Yes, Bobert Gates and co. raise money for the Georgia indictment group. Need help raising legal defense. GOP won't give them a dime. That tells you everything. Tells you everything. It's so frustrating. Okay, so this is why we need a new party. And it's not the same as in the old day, like you had the Libertarian Party that just messed up the vote. We have to all be. That's why there's a unity needed. And it's very interesting. So I think that's all I have today. I'm not going to, we did have a prophecy. We're going to do that next, another prophecy, but it's going to take another 30 minutes just to go through that one. We don't have time. But thanks for joining me today, everybody. I do love hearing from you. Doing it this way has been really fun. So I'm going to keep doing this and keep you involved. Just reading a little bit before I go and make sure there's nothing important I'm missing. You guys are so great in helping me, though. So I have a look, a bit of homework. Tell me what you think about the reference to the cross as the tree. Is there more to it than just a poetic metaphor? Why would it be Paul? I think it was Paul saying that. Paul, Acts and Peter, First and Second Peter, those are Paul's books. So let me know what you think about that. Bobert is an actress. I think so. I think a lot of these people did audition. AOC definitely did. So I think they audition. I think it's kind of working like that now. Did you guys see the strike, the Hollywood actors strike? And weeks and weeks passed and nobody cared. So they've just given up and gone back to work. I think because here's the problem. They actually made a mistake doing that strike because it's just showing the producers and the people making the movies that they don't really need the actors. Now that they have AI, they can just make the AI look like the actors say what they wanted to say. Perfect imperfections. Don't
They
have to
just
worry
own their
about.
likeness, and
Don't
that's
have
it.
to worry about the accommodating all these actors that just think way more of themselves than they should in their little trailers, and everybody's going to be accommodated and everybody's going to be catered to. They don't have to worry about any of that. They can just make AI characters and make the movies out of AI and don't worry about the actors anymore. So foolish of them to go on strike because they just proved even more that they don't have much value anymore.
Okay, we gotta go.
We got to go. I did want to say I was going to talk about Eminem. I'll talk about Eminem next week, but I'm going to forget.
Okay, talk.
1,000 things are going to happen next week. I posted it. Look on my page for Eminem. I did post it, didn't I? Yeah. No, forget it. Forget it. Forget it. Listen, Eminem's an idiot. If you heard what he was saying this week, but he's ashamed of his own race. You know what? I'm so sick of Eminem. I've heard Eminem for decades whining and crying about his bad decisions, blaming his mother for everything. And if you listen to the music, it's just a bunch of profanity. And all it is he's really good at rhyming quickly. Okay, so a guy that's really good at rhyming words quickly isn't saving the world. And I really could care less about his opinion. And I know my dad prophesied about Eminem. And whatever is going to happen with that, that's in God's hands. I'll pray for him, but I am highly annoyed with him. It's bad enough. So there, I said it. It was quick.
There you go.
Okay. All right, so we're done. Thank you, everybody, for joining me again. I will be back here next Sunday. Please do have a look upcoming this week. Oh, I didn't do Sorchini. Listen, you guys, if you are, I know not a lot of you right now.
I've got the ad.
Play the ad. At the end of this, you're going to see an ad for Beverly Hills Precious Metals. They are our other sponsor. So I know some of you are unsure about the economy, finances. I know. Trust me, I don't have any money. So we all know. Nobody has money in Biden's America. But if you do happen to have some and you're wanting to hide it somewhere, you can turn it into gold. And Andrew Sorcini at Beverly Hills Precious Metals will be able to help you with that. And you'll see that at the end of this broadcast. We run a few ads. Have a look at that. Also, coming up on the House of Destiny Network this week, we have Prophetic Rewind tomorrow. I will put up something interesting. Then Tuesday, we have Real Life, Real Faith. It's one of our new shows. It's doing really, really well. Have a look at that. It's on Tuesdays, House of Destiny Network. If you don't know how to get there, go to our website. We're kind of sending people over there right now because we have some censorship issues with YouTube and some of these other places. Rumble, we're cool, but YouTube, not so much. So we are telling people, go to our website, sign up for the online church, because at the online church, you are giving us your email as a username, and that will subscribe you to receive our emails. You can unsubscribe if you don't want them. But if you do, give us your email so we can find you, because we might lose social media channels, and we want to make sure we can still contact you. So it's free to become a member. And if you become a member of the online church, you can go sort of in the back there at the website, and there's extra stuff. And we're working on building some new stuff back there too. So we have a lot of exciting things happening. Probably not till 2024, but it will be good. He did. I know my dad prophesied a good thing for Eminem, and I was quite hopeful this time last year, but all that fell apart. Like so much of the things that I thought I knew how they were going to play out, and they didn't. So again, I pray for Eminem, but I'm just expressing annoyance with him today, because these people who you think were like pushing the envelope or fighting the system aren't just caving to the system. I mean, they're just saying whatever they're supposed to say, or if they don't even know what they're supposed to say, they're saying what the other people say so they can be cool. It's like high school kids. It's stupid. So I'm just annoyed. Kid Rock. I like Kid Rock. And you know what? I'm here in Nashville. He's got his whatever here, but I don't go to clubs and bars, so I have no idea what happens. But I know he owns one here.
12 minutes over.
His prophetic songs, my dad's prophetic songs. I can bring you some. Why don't we bring them? Can you remind me to bring them a song next week? So I'm just grabbing some of these. Are very interesting. I do use Telegram, West Virginia Mom. Oh, there you are. West Virginia Mom is 1776. She was here. Hello. Yes, I do. I use Telegram. So does my mother. So if you want to follow someone on Telegram, I don't use it myself as far as having a profile and posting things, but my mother does. How do they find her?
Jane Clement.
Is she just Jane Clement?
Jane
Look for my
Clement.
mother, Jane Clement, on
And
Telegram.
Kim Clement 4.
And then we are also the Kim Clement, like the ministries there. I personally don't have one. I'm on Twitter, aka X, and I'm on, well, that's it. I've just joined Locals today, but I don't know what's going to happen there. I think with Locals you have to pay, and then people can pay to see your content. But I mean, who's going to pay to hear me? You don't have to pay. It's free. You just do this. I'm just joking. I might actually do something extra on Locals. Like if I do decide to do something, then I'll just film myself doing stuff sometimes and just share things with you as they happen. Maybe I could do that. Okay. I could sit here all day with the comments, so I better go. But I do love all of you. Thank you for joining us. Even our little troll earlier was so angry about people listening to this woman and swearing at us. We extra pray for you. Maybe she wasn't a woman. She might have been a man, but the profile said Gates' 17-year-old girlfriend. So it's someone who doesn't like Gates, but we don't like him either. We used to, but then he turned out to be not what we wanted. So, all right, everybody, I will go now because people are getting into the Illuminati and clones. And listen, I've got a lot to say about that. We can't do that today. Okay, praying for all of you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for the people who gave super chats. That's very important to our ministry right now. It has not been easy carrying this on without my dad, and we have made it for 8 years right now because of you, because you've continued to support us and believe in us. So we thank you for that, because that helps me to know that I'm doing the right thing. If that support goes away, I'm going to start to say, God, you still want me to do this. So I thank you, all of you, for supporting us, for praying for us. Even for those of you who disagree and make me think, thank you for doing that too. It doesn't hurt. Okay, we will see you this time next week. Code Breakers Live. We had fun today. Everybody look up Gilgamesh. Look up, have a look at Gilgamesh. Have a look at the stuff on the tree. Tree cross. Why is it different? Okay. See you next time.
We here at the House of Destiny are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to bh-pm.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you by phone call, and then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that, and come back to us when you're comfortable.
We have recently joined with you at MyPillow, and you guys are sponsoring us. We have our promo code, Kim Clement, right?
It's our 20-year anniversary, everybody. Back in the summer, in July of 2004, when I invented MyPillow. The MyPillow, the queen size, this is the patented fill, and this is the cotton cover we use on our sheets. So it's a very special, limited edition pillow. The queen size, normally $69, I believe $98, $19.98 with their promo code there. $19.98. The king size, I didn't plan this either. They just happened to be in my office. The king size is $29.98. You guys, these are, and they're normally $79.98. So you're getting the best price of any MyPillow in history. If you go to the website too, we still have some closeout slippers at $25 a pair. You'll never be $25. These slippers are closeout. I run into people all the time. Mike, I have all your products. No, you don't. Do you know about our dish towels that just came in? The best dish towels you'll ever use in history, ever. And when we reverse engineer a product, we go problem solution. I want dish towels that dry the things, not that feel, hard or whatever. I mean, it's disgusting. These actually work. These actually work. But yeah, use that promo code Clements, everybody, and to take advantage of that right now.